a list as well. Hello, welcome to Wrestling Made Me Cry, episode 3. Sorry, we were having a laugh before we went live.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about today, and it seems like with every episode we have, the list of things that we want to talk about grows, which is a good thing because I like wrestling and I'm glad that we have so much great wrestling. But it's also low-key terrifying to come into an episode and have like 7 things that you want to talk about.
So we have all these things to talk about.
Yes. And it's going to be a good one, guys. What was us? Have pity for us, please. But it's going to be a good episode. We're going to talk about Adam Copeland as TNT champion for realsies. So this time he's for realsies, the TNT
Oh my
champion.
gosh.
Which I'm so happy about. And like this, we didn't even introduce ourselves, Collins.
Oh. Whoops. We just want to dive right in. We're just like, we got a lot to do. Who cares who we are?
I had a rough morning, guys. Let me live. My name is Kiley. This is Colin. This is our show, Wrestling Made Me Cry, where we talk about the positive, wholesome side of wrestling and things that we love. And that's the criteria. So today, we're going to talk about Adam Copeland. We're going to talk about the Ring of Honor Women's Tournament. We're going to talk about Julia Hart and Mercedes Moné. We're going to talk about Okada. We're going to talk about Street Fight. We're going to try to get through everything we possibly can in this episode. It's going to be a barn burner of an episode. But you know what?
Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? It's a lot.
You know, maybe we won't get to something and maybe we'll end up talking about other things that have nothing to do with anything. But you know, that's the vibe. That's the energy. So yeah.
I forgot to schedule my tweet to go out.
Uh-oh.
Apologies.
I didn't either. It's okay. Guys, we were not prepared today, okay?
I was prepared. I made a notes app and then I fell asleep at like 7 p.m. last night.
And you know, I always forget that you're 3 hours behind me. So for me, it's noon. For you, it's morning.
Yeah, I have my coffee. Let's go. So
I do what A says. Where will Motor City and Killer Kelly go next? I just want to say, I love Motor City. I would love for them to go anywhere. I love Killer Kelly. I'd love for Killer Kelly to go anywhere. I would be lying, though, if I said that I wouldn't want them to go to AEW.
Right. I want to see them on the show that I watch week to week. Like, yeah. That was something that I was thinking about with Motor City, is because they are such an established tag team. Like, from the time that I started watching TNA 15-ish years ago, they're like, that talent has only transcended with time and energy and everything. And it is a shame that they haven't gotten such notoriety as the other big tag teams that have been in the main scene, I guess, mostly monopolized by WWE, because they're just so good. Like, they should be on the Mount Rushmore of tag teams.
I 100% agree. 100%. And I think that their run in TNA was really great. And I think that they had a lot of matches that, to me, flew under the radar in like the best match of the year conversation, because it's in TNA. But I also think that AEW's tag team division is in a spot where they could really benefit from something like that, because the tag division, it's not like they don't have great tag teams. I don't want it to sound like I'm being, doom and gloom about AEW.
Yeah.
But like Motor City versus the Young Bucks is an iconic rivalry. It'd be great. Like, you could have Motor City versus Aussie Open, Motor City versus FTR. Like, that would really revitalize the tag division, because it adds in a bunch of new stuff and new flavors.
Absolutely.
So I 100% am behind Motor City, even if it's Motor City to AEW for a short period of time before they go somewhere else. I think that there's a lot of matches that AEW would benefit from. And Killer Kelly's the same way. I think Killer Kelly, especially her partnership with Masha, I think both of them fly under the radar in ways that they shouldn't, because I think being outside of AEW or WWE or Stardom when it comes to women's wrestling, you kind of get lost in the sauce. Like, there's just when people think of like the best women's wrestlers, they think of Charlotte, they think of, Britt Baker, those kind of people. But Killer Kelly is excellent and such a unique character, such a unique like personality as a women's wrestler. I just love Killer Kelly, and I think that AEW, WWE, wherever would be a great place for either of them.
Right. Absolutely. I think that when Killer Kelly was in the NXT brand, that was with NXT UK, correct? There really wasn't that spotlight that she should have been afforded, because I don't know about you, but I didn't really watch NXT UK at the time. There was just the saturation of shows to watch, and I kind of dipped. So if she did go to NXT, they are so stacked with amazing female talent. I could see it work that way and run the division, while the, Roxanne's, while the Cora Jades all cycle into the main roster, Killer Kelly could be your main women's champion there. So
yeah, and I think I don't want it to sound like we're being doom and gloom on TNA, because
not at all.
I just TNA losing talent was going to happen. Like talent leave, and I don't think talent leaving a promotion for another promotion is necessarily a bad thing in any stretch of the imagination. I think it speaks to like the health of the industry that people can cycle like this between AEW, WWE, TNA, New Japan, Stardom. Like there's so many places to go. But I will say I do think that these are people who TNA has really featured a lot and invested a lot in.
Absolutely.
As well as other people. But I think that they are big losses, but that doesn't mean that TNA can't just promote someone else and make another new star. So I'm not doom and gloom about it at all. But I also think that we have a lot to talk about, so we should probably cycle out of TNA talk to talk about Adam Copeland winning the TNT championship.
Do I have to cry?
Cry.
I already have a cry meter going on our ROH post show because of how many times I cried on this last episode. That has nothing to do with Adam Copeland. I cry because I've always cried with Adam Copeland / Edge. I want to know what you thought of this I Quit match. This is only the second I Quit match in AEW. The first one obviously being Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, which was chef's kiss. Could not be a better I Quit match. This is also on a different level, one of the best I Quit matches I've ever seen. But what did you think?
I loved this match. What I loved most about it was it really did feel like two best friends, two brothers, fighting. But I loved when the ref would take the mic and give them the mic. I loved their little one-liners, and I thought it really added a lot to the match. I thought it was so great. I really had a good time with it. And I think that the interference could have been too much, but I think they played it off just right with Christian Cage's patriarchy and daddy magic and all that kind of stuff. And I think that there was just the right amount of blood. I loved the hockey jerseys. It was sports entertainment, but it was sports entertainment done. It was done in like an AEW way where it's like not overly goofy. I really liked it. And I'm really glad that Adam Copeland won. Not that I don't think Christian Cage was good as TNT champion. I thought he was excellent as TNT champion. I think he might be the best heel they have right now. If you don't count Swerve, but I don't count Swerve as a heel anymore. And I love his little group, and I love that Mama Wayne left. She was like, I'm done. And she left her son too. Just
left her son. Just bye.
Just he has nothing to do with me. And I love that this was, I think, a very fitting end to Christian Cage's TNT title run in Canada against his best friend. And I'm excited really to see what Adam Copeland does, because we've and while he's been in AEW, he's only really feuded with Christian Cage. And so, like, that's a natural story, right? So I'm excited to see Adam Copeland in a story that isn't, you know, what someone expects. And I think that Adam Copeland as TNT champion is a great way to really push people, some like the younger guys, and push them forward. I think that we'll probably get Adam Copeland versus like Luchasaurus at some point. Maybe Luchasaurus will win. I don't know.
Kill Switch?
Kill Switch. He's Luchasaurus. And Adam Copeland is Edge. But I'm excited because Adam Copeland in AEW, at least to me, has felt so different from Edge as like Edge of the character. Like this very much feels like Adam Copeland, which when he came to AEW, same as when any other veteran comes to AEW, I was a little bit skeptical because with Adam Copeland as Edge or as Adam Copeland has never really been outside of WWE in the way that Christian Cage has. Christian Cage like excelled in TNA. So I was worried about it, but I think he's really proven that one, the man is a great promo. So good. Such a good actor. So good at like making you buy into what he's doing, which Adam Copeland versus Eddie Kingston would be a dream match. Just saying. If Tony Khan's listening.
Okay. You just picked my two favorite wrestlers and you're just like, fight, right?
You would not survive, I think. I think you would have a heart attack. Like you would just die on the spot. It'd be like so much emotion that they would come on, like the bell would ring and you'd just be done.
Sob.
Am I lagging or are you lagging? I don't know. Someone is lagging. But I will say, Adam Copeland as TNT champion, I think. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
We had to shut the studio door, so it's
that might be it. All right, I didn't know if I was lagging or you were lagging, but
it's all my fault, so it's fine.
No, it's all good. And Jackie's here, and I always shout out Jackie because I love Jackie. Jackie says Copeland versus Kingston in a fight for Colin's love. it's like
Colin's on a pole match here.
Yeah, you remember Eddie versus Ray for custody of Dominic? But it's you.
Oh my god! And I'm just sitting there in a shark cage, just crying
just above the ring, just waiting for someone. That's what this is.
That's what that is.
But
and both of them probably know it too.
I will say I love Eddie Kingston. I met Eddie Kingston once in my whole life, and it was one of the top 5 moments of my whole life. Eddie Kingston is just such a gem of a human being. I've never met Adam Copeland though, so that's on the list.
Listen, same. I've only obviously interacted with him online, but yeah, I met Eddie Kingston last year, and I lived on Collins Street when I lived in Yonkers when I was going to school out there. So Colin's living on Collins Street, and he was like, "Oh yeah, is this specific bodega here? You know, this specific place here?" And I was like, "Yeah." We were just like talking like to people, you know, from that area, and he was so nice, so wonderful. Let me just kind of because I'm always a little bit shy when I meet people, so I'm just a little, you know. I'm trying to observe the area, you know, I got it. But yeah, he's wonderful. But yeah, I definitely agree that Adam Copeland in AEW is a different version of him. And I feel like after 20, 30 years of wrestling, you would hope that like there would be some sort of reinvention, right? But he is wrestling different since, I mean, we all notice that he is wrestling different since 2011 when he retired. So naturally changing up how he wrestles, changing up how he does things, I don't think that he's lost his luster, right? Like sometimes wrestlers get a little, okay, I have to back off from doing some of these like, you know, intense moves. They just save them for I Quit matches on Dynamite.
Yes.
Because some of these spots, yeah, you mentioned the hockey spot. Like, there was a spot on the ladder where everyone is chanting TLC, TLC, and then like just performing moves which were very akin to what they were 20 plus years ago, which is insane.
And I think another, like, that comes down to them being smart and knowing their limits as, you know, physical as human beings, because they are getting older and they do have to be more mindful of those things than someone like Darby Allin, for example. But I do think that if you compare this match to, and I'm not shading WWE, so nobody get up in arms, but if you compare this match to his match, I think it was like Falls Count Anywhere with Randy Orton, I think there's a clear difference in like how he's approaching wrestling right now and like what limitations he's given or you know, what freedoms he's given. And I think that it's been really, really telling to see Adam Copeland be himself and like be able to wrestle how he wants and, you know, have the stories he wants and speak how he wants. And not that there's anything wrong with how WWE does things. I don't want it to sound like I'm like, this is just an AEW show podcast, which sometimes maybe it is. I don't know. But it's been a lot of good fun. And I think that older guys like Adam Copeland, like Christian Cage, who are able to come to AEW and do like this textbook story and build up to the big match and, you know, the references to like hockey feuds and like their Canadian heritage and all that kind of stuff, and then have Adam Copeland win with the help of his friends. It's like a textbook, like basic wrestling story. It's been told 1,000 times, but they still made it their own. And I think that to me was like the super, super important part. And I don't know where Christian Cage goes from here. And I kind of love that. Like, I love that there's not a clear cut story. I imagine he's going to, you know, Nick Wayne and Killswitch, he's probably going to blame them and have some kind of story there, and Mama Wayne. But I love that it's very much feels like the end of that chapter. And I don't see like, and I don't like, there's no immediate opponent lined up. Like it's not all that predictable. And I love that. And same thing with Adam Copeland. It's very much like he's on top of the mountain. He won the title. Like, that's book one. What is book two? What's the sequel? And we kind of have to start reading book two to know that. So it's like, it's basic, like common sense storytelling, but it's done so well that it feels so emotionally important to me. And that speaks to like the talent of these two guys. Like, they're so good. I'm just so like, every day I'm so glad that Adam Copeland came to AEW. I really am.
Absolutely. There are the possibility of matches, but I definitely feel like I definitely feel like we could fantasy book this to the moon. The addition of Daniel Garcia and Matt Menard coming to the aid of Adam Copeland kind of sets up that friendship to crumble, so to speak. So I like the addition. I like that this closing of the chapter wasn't earmarked by a pay-per-view. What do you like? I like that people who watch week after week are kind of rewarded every once in a while, that like title changes do happen on Dynamite.
And this wasn't the only title change that happened on Dynamite. But I think that's like, thinking back at AEW history, that's one of the things that they always did really well was week to week, you were like rewarded, one, for like paying attention to stories and like the seeds that were planted. And two, you were rewarded for watching. Like, you could get a random dream match on a show, or, you know, a fun street fight or something like that. And you couldn't really just watch AEW pay-per-views and make sense of everything that was going on.
Right.
So I think because they're in Canada, it was a great way to, you know, to treat your Canadian fans. They've gone to Canada a lot more recently, but I mean, Canada doesn't get a whole lot of wrestling shows, unfortunately. So I think that was good, especially because
promotions.
Yeah, I think these guys, I mean, they're both Canadian, so it makes sense. But I also think that they did it soon enough that they could set up a really good match for both or either of these guys at Dynasty. I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would look like. But I think that they picked a really good sweet spot. And AEW is going to have more pay-per-views moving forward. But I would like in between those pay-per-views if we still had stories, beginning and ending, not just like, okay, here's the end of a pay-per-view cycle. This person did a run-in on this pay-per-view. Now I know that they're going to have a title shot at the next pay-per-view, which that's all fine and good. But I like when things feel a little bit more dynamic and chaotic inside of the promotion, because it doesn't really make sense if I'm a wrestler and I'm challenging for a title to just wait for a pay-per-view to do it when I could just go out on a normal work day and do it. Yeah, Eddie says, does AEW have a Canadian tour coming up? Yeah, they're in Canada. They're going to Winnipeg and like other places. But Canada doesn't really get all that much American wrestling, unfortunately. Like, I mean, like WWE and AEW, they'll both do Canadian tours or like England tours or what have you, but like these places of the world are left out all the time. But yeah, I think that, to go back to your question, I think it was really smart of them, and I think they're kind of getting back in that swing of things. I think this week especially, Jericho and Hook. Jericho and Hook is, for whatever reason, continuing on. But I thought Hook beating Jericho was a good. I don't know why.
I just realized the face I was making. I'm so sorry.
No, we'll talk about it briefly because I know it's going to make me upset.
No, this is not wrestling made me upset.
And it's because Hook and Jericho was continuing on. Jericho has, what did he say, like a proposal for Hook or something like that? Hopefully it's a wrestling wedding. I want nothing else to do with those two. But Hook beat Jericho pretty soundly, which was a positive, and that made me very happy.
That also made me very happy. So
there was like someone go back and count all the German suplexes in that match, because there was like 17 of them.
10, 17. Yeah.
Hook, like
17.
Hook like demolished Jericho, which he should have.
Yeah.
Jackie says Jericho and Hook is wrestling made me cry, but for bad reasons. Exactly. It is just we need to move on, because I can't continue thinking about Chris Jericho when I need to be thinking about the ROH women's tournament. So what are your thoughts about the ROH women's tournament, like up until this point? And then what do you see like the outcome and like the future?
Okay, so I've talked about this on my ROH post show with Kyle Sparks over on OLE podcast. And I definitely, let me just preface to say, at first when they announced the tournament, I was like, I love a tournament for the TV title, because this is for the brand new ROH women's TV title. This title is meant to be for someone who appears on television week after week. And my issue with Ring of Honor, and I won't jump on this too much, is that your title holders are gone from television, except your women week after week after week. So basically having your ROH show week after week, highlighting some of the best female wrestlers. Of course, I love this. The first round of the tournament was kind of, no brainers. It was kind of enhancement talent. It was, showcasing new people that are up and comers that could be signed by ROH in the near future. But it really got good last week, and it was I tweeted it and had a nice exchange with Mercedes Martinez, because it was Mercedes Martinez versus Abaddon. And knowing that Mercedes Martinez has fought every kind of wrestler, every skill, every talent, every size, for titles, for not titles, for tournaments, for anything, because they have been wrestling since before some of these wrestlers have been born. And Mercedes had never battled anyone like Abaddon. And Abaddon has been dominating this tournament in such a way that really has developed Abaddon as a wrestler, and they are fantastic. They're not just scary, spooky, but they also are fantastic at wrestling from where they've grown since they came to AEW. And that match, it had Mercedes changing up the style in which she was wrestling, because Abaddon was, you know, Mercedes likes to, okay, I'm going to neutralize, you know, you, I'm going to put you in the center of the ring. I'm going to, you know, go limb by limb, and, you know, that's that.
Yeah.
But Abaddon wasn't letting that happen. There was a biting moment, which was an excellent match. So up to that point, I was, you know, with Mercedes going on ahead, I was like, this is going to be the best match of the tournament. Cut to this week, we had your semifinals. You had Mercedes Martinez versus Billy Starks, which I had mentioned. Mercedes Martinez has been wrestling longer than Billy Starks has been alive.
That's crazy.
But you have Billy Starks, who has Athena in her ear going, yeah, you have Billy Starks going, hey, Kate, yeah, TMD Collins.
I don't think that one, because now I'm left out. Sweet. Like, I'm the only one.
So, yeah, now you need one. I mean,
guess I have to jump on the bandwagon.
Say it's a little bit ASMR, so yeah, it's a little bit.
I like that though.
You guys can hear the.
You know, I like when.
Is it comforting to you?
Yeah, I like when I'm like the center of people's attention, like their attention is on me. So like my jacket makes noise, like they're gonna be you know what I mean? Like it's a good way to draw their attention, I think.
That's a vibe. So. That's a vibe. Such a vibe. Kate peer pressuring everyone to buy one. Honestly, you should just get one anyways, because they're really nice and they support some really great wrestlers. So, and it arrived very, very fast for me. So
how fast?
Like, you know how long it takes pro wrestling tees to do? Like over a month, right?
Yeah, ages.
WWE is about like 2 weeks for me. This was here within a week and a couple days.
That's really good for wrestling. Mm-hmm. That's like really good. Fine, I'll buy the jacket. I'll buy the jacket.
It's also everyone else should get it. There's also like a front pocket, so I'm pulling it up. This is also great when I take the dogs out, because that's where I put like little treats and the dog poop bags and all the things. There's also side pockets.
Oh man, it's cute. It's got purpose and, you know, a reason to wear it. It has utility. We're just selling this jacket right now. They should clip this, and that's their commercial for the jacket.
Absolutely.
It's now I have to buy it. Okay, I'll buy the jacket. Don't worry. I'll buy the jacket. I was peer pressured. I was influenced by Kate Collins, the influencers.
Listen, I wouldn't even take a cut from it. That's it. I won't even take a cut. Kate won't take a cut either. So,
Kate, and you're still selling the jacket. It's a soft plastic and it's eco-friendly.
We very much care about the environment here. We love it. Where was I? Oh, we were talking about the Ring of Honor women's tournament. Okay, so Mercedes Martinez wrestling Billy Starks, who has Athena in her ear telling her if she doesn't win this whole thing, there's going to be trouble brewing, which is like, yes, we love trouble. We love violence. That's what we want. But I digress. Mercedes gave Billy Starks a run for her freaking money. Definitely. Oh, hey, Penny. Definitely gave her the match of her life. And in the end, Billy Starks pulled ahead. Like Billy Starks defeating a 20 plus year veteran, right? And then the second match was freaking Queen Aminata versus Red Velvet, which Red Velvet has been I think, the dark horse of this competition. Not to say that I don't like Red Velvet, but it is very hard for me to watch in belief that someone could win, someone who is very small, right? That someone that is very small, who barely makes an impact when running the ropes, is very high flying, but thinking that they could win matches. And here they were beating freaking, Layla Hirsch. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was my original pick to win, because, okay. So having that match with Queen Aminata, who I definitely think is being shoehorned into the TV title, because she is such a fine wrestler, just fine-tuned, passionate, believable. But Red Velvet had her running for her money. I was like, oh, this is a damn good match. And that was probably the best match of the entire tournament. Just watching them go back and forth, back and forth. The crowd was in it. The near falls. Absolutely fantastic. 100 out of a million, a million stars, whatever. I don't know. It's fantastic. And it's just reinvigorated for me, women's wrestling, because the women are the ones showing up to Ring of Honor. They're the ones putting on the matches that you have to tune in for.
Yeah. And I think,
there's no one better than women.
Period. Quote. Queen Aminata, like, I've known about Queen Aminata for years, because she wrestles, or used to wrestle a lot on the indies in Florida. So I would see her a lot of places. And she's always been so super talented in the ring, and so great with fans, and like those personal interactions that you get a lot of times at indie shows. So I'm so excited to see her have this opportunity. And it very much feels like, to me, that Queen Aminata and Billie Starkz are two women who are being pushed a lot, and they have the confidence of Tony Khan as, the leader of the company. And they have the confidence of the fans too, which is something that when you're young and you're introduced to a new audience and you're immediately put in a good spot, sometimes fans, it doesn't click with them in that way. But I think this tournament has really shown that, one, there are a lot of great women's wrestlers that should be maybe on AEW TV weekly, but that the depth of the AEW ROH multiverse, the women's roster, the depth is a lot greater than people think. The roster is smaller compared to the men's, but in terms of talent, I think the women's roster stands toe to toe. I think there's so many great stars. And I think that this tournament, more than just being like the lifeline of ROH, like let's be honest, I think it's really giving these women time in front of the audience and setting them up to be at the higher levels of ROH or even in AEW. I mean, we've already seen Billie Starkz in AEW. We've seen Queen Aminata in AEW. Queen Aminata, by the way, won the AEW crowd over immediately. Like, her first appearance. So quick. Because she's a natural. She's so good. She's just one of those wrestlers that is so likable and so believable. The same way Willow came to AEW, had the audience in the palm of her hand. Queen Aminata is the same way. So I think this tournament is a great way for these younger women to get those spots higher up against veterans like Mercedes Martinez, who, by the way, is excellent. Mercedes Martinez deserves the world. But I think that Red Velvet is another one who, for better or for worse, like, she was in AEW, she had some like rough spots, she had some injuries. I think that this is another way for her to reinvent herself as a wrestler. And I think that the matches overall in the tournament have been great. I don't see like a clear outcome of who's going to win. I think there's like a few people or two people really who could, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, the tournament is serving its job in that it's showcasing the division and building that platform of like, these are our stars in this division. For the men, you can't really say the same thing, because I don't know what is going on.
I don't know what's going on.
But ROH at this point, let's be honest, it should be a women's only promotion. that really interesting in this women's division. But I think Athena Shida is an incredible match. And I'm excited for the outcome because I think it speaks to like, this is the direction we're going with ROH. But I also think it speaks to like, in the future moving forward, what is the relationship between ROH and AEW going to be? Because I think we talked last week that we think Athena, should cross over. She should be an AEW because, hello, she's a star and she's not that being behind a paywall is a bad thing, but being on ROH and being on AEW, that's two totally different things. And I think we can objectively say that. But I think Athena is so talented as a wrestler that they could really use her in AEW just to have barn burner matches, like 4 or 5 star pay-per-view matches. Like Athena can do that and she's ready to do that. But ROH, I think, is in this weird zone where like it doesn't have a distinct identity as its own promotion. It did.
Yeah.
A few months ago. But I'm not sure what the direction is, but I like that it's appearing, at least to me, to be women forward. That their ROH is going to have all of this time dedicated to women. It's going to be a great place for women to like develop as wrestlers. So that's what I like, because the AEW women's division has come a long way, but it's not the same way.
Absolutely. And I mean, there is a lot of crossover potential, especially with all of the women's talent.
Yeah.
In AEW and ROH. But the fact that your women talent are the only ones appearing week after week in these, I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been squash matches, there have been obvious winners in these four corner survival matches that are not my favorite, but we haven't seen some of these champions, these titles. We've never seen the Bullet Club on Ring of Honor television. We haven't seen the Undisputed Kingdom on ROH television. Wheeler Yuta, I love that I trashed Wheeler Yuta last week and got so many people upset in the comments and in the live chat. And I get it. He's out with whatever injury, but there is a such thing as have camera phone. And we've seen it where Eddie Kingston hasn't been on for, he wasn't on for like 11 weeks and did a backstage promo. And then this week he also did another backstage promo. I thought he was doing it in like a closet, right? But it was actually the locker room. And I was like, what's going on? What is this room he's in? But like the fact that we're in the age of anyone has a camera anywhere. So if you want to do something on your phone or if you want to do something, pull a camera, whatever, we know that he's there. Right? Yeah. Like it just apologies. It just sucks because there's so much talent holding all these titles, and it would really make worth the $9.99 a month Honor Club if we actually got to see these champs. And I mean, we know that people have had visa issues. We know that people have been injured, but I don't know, make me excited about it. And the women are doing that. So I'm being rewarded for my time.
Yeah. And it's even more difficult because it's not like Eddie Kingston is nowhere. Like he's on AEW.
Right.
He's wrestling Okada in AEW. And it's not like Jay White is nowhere. Like Jay White just had a match against Darby Allin and is now, coming out with the guns, and they're, Bullet Club Gold, but they're on AEW. And it's like, to me, like, I don't understand why you would I don't think that you need to put titles on AEW talent to get exposure for ROH. I think it's more important for ROH to be its own, like, distinct entity, to have its own champions, its own pay-per-view cycles, that kind of thing, than it is to try to get AEW fans to pay $9.99 to watch Ring of Honor. Because if they wanted to, they would have. Right. But like, it's just this, it makes no sense to me that the women are carrying the show. It makes sense to me because I want them to carry the show. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. But I fully am behind ROH as women's only. But they're doing all this work, especially Athena and Billy Starks, and then like AEW fans know about it because they tweet about it all the time. But Athena is not in AEW all the time, doing nothing in ROH, all that kind of stuff. If ROH is good as ROH, AEW fans will watch. But Eddie Kingston, being Continental Crown wrestling Okada, I don't need to watch ROH to see Eddie Kingston versus Okada. I can see it on AWTV for free. But who is Eddie Kingston wrestling in ROH that is going to make me watch ROH? And like that's I think where they're kind of losing it with the men is like, these are all great champions. They're all great wrestlers. But if they're going to be ROH champions, they need to be in ROH. Like you can't put them on AEW and have them be ROH champions because you want more belts on AWTV. You want them to feel more important to AEW fans. Like you want them to have the prestige of a title. Like what is it? Because they're having ROH titles while they're in AEW stories. And that makes no sense to me. Like if you're going to buy a promotion, it needs to run as its own promotion. It's like even if ROH was the NXT of AEW, there's still a line. Like that WWE has a line between NXT and Raw and SmackDown. Like you got to figure it out. But I will say the women's tournament has been a great thing for women's wrestling, for ROH, and also for like interest in women's wrestling. And I think even in the AEW side, to transition maybe into talk about Julia Hart, Kate says there's also too many titles on AEW. There really is. So there's so many titles, and half of them I have no clue what the point is and how they're different from one another. I really don't. Like okay, FTW title, international title. What are we doing? What are those? I have no idea. It was never explained to me what those two titles are for. Except one is Hook just has it, and the other one is funsies, I guess. Eddie Kingston.
So here's my thing is if you loved sorry, I'm not going to go on a rant, but I promise I'll make a point.
You have the floor.
Here's the thing is with the FTW championship, the title itself, it pays respect to what Taz did in the past, right? The fuck the world championship, right? That's FTW. So I think the person holding that championship, it isn't really part of the lineage of champions because it's very self-given, right? It's kind of the, kind of how we saw the CM Punk with the X through the world title that he never returned or whatever. I don't know. That was a weird time. But I think that it has legitimacy more than the international, which I think that the international and the continental just sound a little bit too similar in my brain. But I like the title. I like that a title, the FTW championship, it pays homage, is the basically same thing that is the tying of the Taz of the past, right? I like the lineage.
Yeah, and I like it. And I like that Hook has it because it's, he's inheriting that role. I just wish that, because every now and again, they'll be like, this is an FTW title match, and he defends it. And you have Continental, which I don't know what these titles are for besides but at the same time, it's like you have two sets. Well, now the AEW tag titles are vacant, but at a time you had two sets of tag titles because you had ROH and you had AEW. You had two sets of trios titles because you had ROH and AEW. You had TNT, you had Continental, you had the ROH World Championship, you had the International title, you have the FTW title, you have the ROH Pure Wrestling title, and all these titles are circulating in AEW at the same time. Meanwhile, you have an AEW World Champion who we're not going to talk about the World Championship title picture because MJF was a lot for me. And then in the women's division, you have the women's world title with Toni Storm, which she's doing excellent things. And you have the TBS title with Julia Hart, who is now doing excellent things. And that's it. And I'm not saying that the solution is to give more title to the women, because I don't think it is. But I think that, you can't just put everybody who you want to feature on AWTV, you can't just put a belt on them to make them feel cool. people can be cool without being X champion from X promotion. Here's why you should believe in this guy. We don't need it. And I don't know if the international title has a point. I don't know if the continental title has a point. I think you could have had it could have been like the G1. Like so and so is the winner of the G1. They win this thing, and that's it. You don't need to do this.
They go on to face the main champion. You win the G1, you go on to win.
Because Tony Khan said that it's like you have the AEW Continental title, which you defend in the C2 every year, and it's just not needed. But
I mean, and then you also have the Owen Hart championship belts that we only see.
Yeah, what happened to that? Adam Cole won that. Oh my goodness! I love.
They should just have a tournament belt.
They should have. If you win the Owen, you should win a shot at X title. Maybe not the world title, but X title, something like that.
Well, why did they need to have the titles, the actual physical belts?
Yeah, or I don't know what. Something, but if you're going to have the Owen and the C2 both running yearly, they need to have something that differentiates them. Right now, it feels like you win the Owen, which I think the Owen should exist because I think that is a wrestler that should
be
memorialized in that way. But if you're going to have the Owen every year, there has to be either you have to say you're doing it just for the prestige of winning the Owen, or you get this thing at Double or Nothing. You get to choose your opponent or, whatever have you. And if you win the C2, maybe you win the C2, you get an automatic world title shot at whatever show, something like that. But if the Owen is just going to be a prestige tournament, then say that. You're just right. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't need to be this hyper competitive thing because it's about Owen Hart at the end of the day. It's not about pushing a story forward or using it as a vehicle, whatever. But there's a lot of discourse in the chat about these titles. But I will say one thing I love about the women's division is that there is so few titles that every title feels important. It's like when Mercedes comes in, it's like, is she going to go after the TBS title? Is she going to go after the world title? And they both feel like viable options and they feel important because that's it. There's no really a women's lower card title or a tag title or women's trio or what have you. And so the fact that Mercedes she comes out on Dynamite, she's cutting this promo. It's very much a Mercedes promo. It's a little bit WWE-ish, but she's breaking the mold. I respect it.
Yeah.
She's confronted then by Julia Hart and Sky Blue, which I am so beyond pleased that Julia Hart is getting this spot because I think Mercedes wrestling Willow is a given. I think they have history. She was injured in her match with Willow. It's what have you. The AEW didn't really need to put Julia on screen with Mercedes, and they did. And I am glad because I think Mercedes, regardless of what you think about her, I think she comes with a certain value in that the opponents that she's against feel very, very important because Mercedes feels important. So I think putting Julia on screen with Mercedes
that's all you need to do.
That's all you need to do. Yeah. And like Julia has come so far as a wrestler and also as a character from her cheerleader days with Varsity Blondes. Like she is so every match, I feel like she gets better in the ring, better and better. I don't know where she's training, who she's training with, but keep doing it. And I forget sometimes that she came to AEW when she was 18 years old. She was so young. She was still so young and little. And she is like one of the people in the women's division that everybody talks about. It's like when they talk about their favorite people in the women's divisions, it's like Jamie Hayter, it's Britt Baker, it's Julia Hart, it's Tony. It's, she's a mainstay. And I love that. And I love that they're basically having faith that she, by being on screen with Mercedes, she's going to hold her own. I don't know if they're going to do like a match, Mercedes, Julia, or if they're going to do Julia, someone else to get to Willow Mercedes or whatever it is. But I think that this is a huge show of trust and support that the people backstage have in Julia. Because whoever wrestles Mercedes first, like there will only ever be one person who gets to have a feud with Mercedes first. And the fact that Julia's in that circle of people, I'm so excited about it because I love Julia.
It's so funny to me because I mean, I was there that, all out weekend when we first saw Sky Blue, right? So we first saw Sky Blue as enhancement talent, right? In the Chicago area, 2021. Gosh, that's 2021. Jeez. Okay. I'm just realizing that time isn't real and nothing matters. But seeing her like debut and the crowd just being so behind her and seeing that happy, I joked at the time that she was like a Pokemon trainer, right? The kind that you meet in like, the forest that has the backwards hat and is like, I'm just happy to be here, and only has like 3 Caterpies, and you're like, what the heck? What is going on? But now, like, there is an edge to her, and there's an edge to Julia that really, I mean, even with how green they are, it feels refreshing. It's like, I mean, not to say that, up to this point, we're parched for water as you are taking a nice gulp of. You're taking a gulp of. What are you drinking? Coffee?
I am drinking water. It's coffee. I do have water too, but that's coffee.
Yeah. I like that both of our cups are similar color.
I love that for us.
I love it. See, that unites us. We don't need a jacket to unite us. No. Yeah. But I love how green they are, and I feel like such a proud parent to them. Like, I've just seen them blossom from, Julia was this cute, cheerleader doing these dark matches that we were like, okay, cool. Then she kind of became spooky, and we were like, okay. And now she's living up to that House of Black name, right? I mean, every person that's in House of Black can, go on their own. And Julia is no different. She can go. And it's very exciting. And seeing them in the street fight. Auntie loves a street fight, but goodness sakes.
What I really loved, the street fight felt, because I think right now, I think Mercedes is the thing in the women's division. She feels like the most important thing. But it doesn't feel like, to me, that the Tony, Deanna, Thunder Rosa story, and then the Julia Hart, Chris Statlander, Willow story, Sky Blue story, it doesn't feel like those two things to me are that far behind Mercedes. Like, I think they're doing a really good job of not letting Mercedes debut take over the division. It still feels super important and like, mind-blowing and, game changing, but it doesn't feel like the rest of the division is fading to the background. Like, they're doing a lot to like maintain that, like a respectable gap. And the street fight to me felt like that. Like, it really felt like, here are 4 stars. Here are like the stars of our women's division, like this core, middle, solid core. And they're going to go out and they're going to be destructive. And AEW, when the women's division, when they have a street fight, they always go all out because they have nothing to lose. But this one to me, I was really, really impressed. I was impressed with everybody in this match. And I think Julia and Sky Blue especially, because we haven't really seen them. I mean, we've seen them have, violent matches and use weapons and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the, a big street fight or a match where they have to work together a lot or something like that, we haven't seen them in that role because they're just so young and so new to AEW.
Right.
But I loved this match. I thought everybody shined. I think that they paid really close attention to like the characters. Like Willow, for example. Is she going to turn heel? Is she going to be a baby face? There was a tease with Mercedes on Dynamite as well. So they're really playing into that with Willow, which Willow, I don't think that they should turn Willow heel. I mean, people in the comments are asking it. I don't think that they should. Willow is best as a babyface. I think Chris Statlander should be the heel, because I think a heel Chris Statlander with her height, her build, like she's physically imposing. I think that is incredible, and I think they need that. Because I guess Toni Storm is a heel, but like not in the way that a heel Chris Statlander would be. Like people still root for Toni because she's so talented in the ring.
Absolutely.
But I think, I don't know, this street fight. What did you think of the street fight? I just like snatched the question from you.
No, it was so. To be fair, I did not watch this on Wednesday because I fell asleep. I am just a little baby that wakes up at 5 a.m. and I cannot make it through to the end because I'm on Pacific time, right? So I like it's coming out at the 10 p.m. for me. So yeah. I'm tired. So I watched this yesterday. So like sitting down specifically to watch this match, but to watch the hour-long, Rampage. But the way that there was so much violence going on, but it didn't feel chaotic, which I think that sometimes some street fights can get a little bit too chaotic where I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to look. I just am excited that there's violence happening. It felt well-paced. I think that it could have gone longer, but we only had that amount of time. But there was like a moment where Willow was trying to powerbomb Sky Blue through the announcer's desk, but she countered it. Like, girl, what the hell? Girl, what the hell? Like, it wasn't just violence. And yeah, there were thumbtacks. Yeah, there were, things being hit in places that you screamed, because I scream. I'm very audible when I watch wrestling. But I feel like sometimes street fights can rely too much on weapons. Like this is a weapons match. But I felt like they evenly doused it out with weapons and wrestling capabilities, that I am going to inflict hurt on your body because I am skilled. And the counters and the Statlander attempting a 450 splash, but Julia rolling out of the way, like that's skilled to do. I love when women are showcasing their skill. I love it when they're violent. I love it when like they're not relying on the props, right? Because we've seen some street matches, especially on the men's side, where they just rely on those props. And that's cool for them. But these women didn't need it. And honestly, each of these women can go.
I 100% agree. Also, I don't know.
I was just going to try to make you uncomfortable.
Jeremy joined, and I was like, okay, he's going to just jump in and say something absolutely insane.
No, me? Never.
Yes.
Never.
Jeremy, listen.
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt Auntie Collins either while she was talking about the street fight. And then I was just going to come in and say, you know what, two women don't need a prop? You two, because you definitely don't need me here. But I've decided to say hello, make my Wrestling Made Me Cry debut after being a staple of interrupting Tag Talk nearly every single week. I don't know if I'm going to interrupt this show every single week.
You're
but
welcome
I have
to come anytime. So
anytime.
I don't like ruining shows by just like jumping on out of nowhere. But I had to say hi.
You never ruin anything.
I haven't been on the show. I haven't said hi to. Is this? We've done I appeared on the Tag Talk you were on, didn't I, Collins? Or is this our first time on screen together?
I feel like this is our first time on screen together. This is very exciting for me. So.
Oh my goodness.
Can we influence you also to get a TMTK windbreaker here?
I mean, that's a sweet looking jacket, honestly. So maybe
I'm very. It's got a pocket.
It's got pocket. Oh. The shipping is fast. It's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
So y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel women are clothes aren't designed well for women because there's a lack of pockets in women's clothing, right? So like I get my wife these pair of leggings every single year for Christmas, and they got pockets in them. And this is like the greatest gift I can ever get her, because leggings apparently don't have any.
They don't.
They don't have pockets.
So yeah. So like every year, like I'm like husband of the year because I just get her these leggings with pockets, and like it's like, oh, thank you so much. It's like, yeah, that's cool that like women have been suppressed to thinking like pockets shouldn't matter, and now I can come along and just get her something with pockets, and like I look like a genius for doing this. So I appreciate designers for like putting no pockets in anything to make me look better.
That's why I really like that like cargo pants and like baggy jeans are coming back in style, because we were in skinny jeans hell for like 14 years, right? And you could not get anything in those pockets if they had pockets, if you were lucky enough to have real pockets. But now I can wear my baggy jeans and the pockets are so deep because I got so much room. Like my legs are so far away from these pants, and cargo pants with so many pockets. Listen, it's so good. It's so good. So like if we could keep skinny jeans in the past, if we could stop condemning ourselves to that, we're good.
It's great.
I'm just saying I'm currently wearing men's pants. I'm wearing men's cargo pants because the issue still is, yes, cargo pants, but they have these faux pockets. They're like, oh, you want pockets? We're going to sew them on. Yeah. I bought a pair like that. Trashed. So
that would upset
I just went to Walmart and I was like, listen, yeah, I got these. I'm not skilled enough to show you, but I'm wearing, I'll take a picture for you later to show these Walmart pants that were $10. And they are made by the Carhartt brand. So
I love that.
It's great that designers just took away pockets and then then they gave it back and made it seem like they did something special.
Yeah.
It's like, look what we've done. We've invented this new thing called pockets that are on none of your pants or none of your shirts or hoodies or anything. But now we've put them on this. It's celebrate us.
It's the same thing with skirts, like skirts with built-in shorts. They were so popular when I was a kid, and then they took out the shorts, and now the shorts are back. And people are like, look at this skirt I got on TikTok Shop. It has shorts under it. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's psychological warfare against women, and I just won't stand for it.
Oh, I'm not condoning them. Warfare. I'm not condoning them taking away the pockets. I think it's wrong. Women have been suppressed with the pockets. Don't like it. I do respect that I can again just like buy something with pockets and I look like the greatest human being in the world because I bought pants with pockets. So I do like that aspect of it, and I will continue to do that and abuse that power because God knows white men don't get enough in this world.
No, you need leggings are the key to white men power.
That's
leggings with pockets.
That's why anytime I go to buy a dress for a function, I have to make sure it has a pocket, because nothing is worse than going to a wedding. Where the heck am I supposed to put my phone? Where the heck am I supposed to put?
You have to keep track of your bag too, which I hate. Any event where I have to carry my bag around and keep track of it. No.
That the biggest one. The wife got a dress with like pockets, and she is like telling me about this thing and like showing it off so much of like, this is the greatest thing in the world. It is a dress. Look at these pockets here. I can put my phone in there. I can just put a little like, whatever, a little bit of money, whatever she needs in there. Like every single time we would just like run into each other or see each other like look at these pockets I got. Look at this great dress with these pockets. Like, is it that bad for y'all that like this is like the greatest thing ever? Again, this is why I'm like, I could buy something with pockets in it and I look great. I'm gonna keep doing it.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna have to find something because in 2 weeks I'm getting married and my wedding dress does not have pockets. I could like try to stuff it down my chest, but then that's weird.
Okay, hold on. Let's not bury the lead here. So I saw this on Twitter. I didn't want to say anything because I don't like I don't want to come in here and give out personal scoops like other people on this channel, Sean Ross Sapp. You're getting married in 2 weeks.
I am.
Congratulations. I saw the photos with like the rings and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As
those are expensive.
Big lover of love. They are.
A big lover of love.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy, lover of love Lambert.
Yeah. Look, I'm not afraid to put my personal feelings out there. We're doing a rewatch of The Office. Last night we got to Jim and Pam wedding. We watched a 2-parter. I tear up every single time.
Every time.
I'm a huge love. I love love. So congratulations, Collins. I hope you did the best to you and your future husband, and I hope all goes well. Hope the wedding go well. Hope you enjoy the ceremony and everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about this.
I'm excited to like kind of catch my breath because I'm a fly by the seat of my pants person. Like I don't want to plan things ever because then I'm not disappointed when it doesn't, because nothing ever winds up like it's supposed to, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just praying that it doesn't rain. I'm praying that people actually show up on time. I'm praying that my photographer doesn't have any issues getting to the venue.
It's
there's
good
no
luck
construction.
If wrong, wrong. Like
that's
I would sabotage my own wedding to make sure I got the good luck.
Just remember that like the day is about you, and try not to worry about anything else around you, and then usually stuff just kind of falls into place on that, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it because it's always a fun day. It goes by so quickly, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this and that, and then like, you can't do that. Just enjoy everything that you are able to do. I got my own access, Kate. That's how I got there.
He just came in, Kate. He didn't ask for permission. He showed up on his own.
We're talking about weddings and love over here. This is right up my alley. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Lover of love.
Kiley and I before the show were talking about dating, and I don't have any gauge for, because me and my partner have been together for forever. Like it feels like forever. And I don't have any gauge of dating, online dating. There was like a small stint that I was online dating, and I said, this is not for me. Because I can judge real quick if somebody's in it for the wrong reasons. And
yeah, online dating is not for the weak of heart.
I did online dating.
It's pretty, even dating in general in 2024 is like a disaster. So like listen, everybody listening, the sooner you get married, the sooner you could be out of this house. Everybody just get married. Find someone, anybody.
Listen, it's expensive. So don't jump into marriage unless you're ready, because we've been saving. I selfishly was saving up for a new car as well this year. That money is gone because everything is more expensive now. And I just got to rebuild my savings, which is fine. But it's one of those things that I wasn't expecting to pay, $1,000 for people to just eat food, right? I wasn't expecting to pay, $1,000 for a ring on my finger.
It's expensive.
Yes, it really adds up. The ring, the just getting a venue. My wife is in the room, by the way, right now. If you hear her laugh, talking about how expensive weddings are. Ours wasn't that bad. Like we were able to find a place that like everything was kind of included.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to go to like multiple locations or anything like that. So it was a little bit better. But yeah, it can definitely add up. Like some of the places we were looking at, it's like, what? they're charging this much and we only get like 30 people to be at this thing. That's not going to happen. So it does get very, very expensive.
I know nothing about it because I'm not married, but like I'll take your word for it.
I mean, it is like a day that you will never forget, and it is a commitment to each other. So, right? So like I always commit to things a little bit more if there's money involved. Not saying that I'm not going to commit.
I get this philosophy, by the way.
That was crazy.
Because like I'm very like, you know, I would be happy just going to the courthouse, which we've kind of done. So I'm happy doing anything. But when my parents were like, we spent all our money on your sister's wedding, so I'm sorry, there's nothing for you. Like, they were telling me, like, one of my friends was telling me that, like, on average is like $40,000 to spend on a wedding.
For a wedding?
For a wedding, for one day. One day. I was like,
How many people do you know?
That's absurd. That's a little absurd.
I don't know enough people to make $40,000 worth of stuff. Oh my goodness.
I'm
like,
and that's like high arena.
Yeah.
Right. High arena, wedding coordinator, hiring like assistants, like all these things. Like I went to a wedding that it was at the same wedding venue as Love is Blind season 4, I believe. Ooh. The Seattle one. So all the way in the mountains, $8,000 just to be at the venue. This is not alcohol added. There's no food. There's no chairs. Like those are additional fees, but it's just $8,000 to reserve the place to get married.
That price went up after,
and she said that
they were on Love is Blind too. They're like, it was like $5,000, but now we got that Netflix venue deal,
right? And like I kind of was like, looking at the prices myself. If you want a wedding, that wedding venue now, the only price that is under $10,000 is if you had a wedding between a Monday and a Thursday. For some reason, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays are all over $10,000 just for the venue.
So if anybody needs incentive, their incentive to get married, dating sucks. Incentive not to get married, you have to be rich to do it.
Get married on like a Wednesday at like 3 a.m. Like, all right, this is when we're getting married. Everybody.
Those are called Vegas wedding chapels, right?
Just everybody go to Vegas and get married. You can get married by an Elvis impersonator, which is low key kind of cool. Not gonna lie, your wedding photos will always be iconic.
A couple of months ago, I was like, I would just want to scrap all of this and like I was saying, let's wait and do it during Double or Nothing. That way, like, pit stop before we go to Double or Nothing.
That's one of the stages of wedding. There's like 3 or however many stages of grief. There's like stages of wedding. One of the stages is definitely like, we're not doing any of this. Let's just go get married today. Let's just go to the courthouse and do this. Just cancel everything we've already done. That's 100% one of the stages of a wedding. Oh, we definitely had that stage. Yeah. Nah, we definitely did. Yeah. No, we definitely had that My parents lasted 25 years and they had their wedding in the living room of their home.
I love that. That's like sweet memories though. Yeah. Like John Cena. John Cena got married at the courthouse like 2 days after I had jury duty. So I just missed it.
Wow.
But yeah, if John Cena can get married at a courthouse, I can.
I did a John Cena entrance at my wedding. That was our they do the big introduction. Like now, Mr. and Mrs. Jeremy. Yeah, we played John Cena's theme. And I ran. Like John Cena runs to the ring. I ran. The wife was like, I ain't doing none of that. But I did the big run, did the big you can't see me.
I love that.
5 seconds notice that I was going to have to run.
Yeah, you got to call it in the ring.
Yeah.
That's what a professional does. You're over here. Where's the script? Rocky over here needing your promos on your wrist. No, she's flipping me off. No, you gotta learn how to call it in the ring. Work the crowd.
Yeah,
the crowd wanted
at
the
your
run.
wedding.
We gave them the run.
It's in-ring psychology at the wedding. You gotta like.
Honestly, I asked for my entrance song to be Kurt Angle's theme because if you know me, Kurt Angle's theme is like the pivotal moment of excitement. It's
well, if people can have like Star Wars weddings and Game of Thrones weddings, you can have wrestling weddings, I think. And then you can make your best man and your maid of honor fight. Like, I feel like that's like the main event of the wedding.
Somebody's got to go through a table. Somebody's got to go through a table, though.
Get a table. You can get the ladder. Like, they have to train for it, obviously. But like tacks, that'd be great on the dance floor. Just some tacks. Why not?
All right, now we're pushing.
I mean,
now we're pushing.
That wedding cake is expensive, right?
Yeah.
So you pay like what, $3,000 for the wedding cake? Have people go through the wedding cake. What else are you going to do with it?
Have somebody in the wedding cake.
We thought about that because we thought about we wanted the great Japanese deathmatch legend Luther to show up. Unfortunately, he could not make it, but we wanted him to come out on the wedding cake. And fortunately, Luther had come to the wedding, but we had that bit planned out. Just unfortunately didn't pay off.
That's so good.
So everybody,
we're gonna renew our vows at some point, and we're gonna do the full on. We'll get the Japanese deathmatch legend Luther. I'll get the Seth Rollins suit. He's worn about 30 million different suits since then. I'll see if he'll send me a suit.
And get a ring announcer.
Get a ring announcer. We can do that. We'll get you how to run in the high heels and the dress. We can jab John Alba. Somebody will want to punch John Alba though. Very punchable face, John Alba. Super punchable face. You got to run this time.
John
Yeah.
Alba, let it be known.
Listen, I'm into it. Let's go.
Everybody's invited. We'll invite more people. Yeah, more people to invite. We'll just do a over the top battle royal or something. Well, we're gonna have 200 this time. Yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll do a battle royal. We'll set up
200-man battle royal.
Yeah. Take that, WCW. Can we do the Doomsday Tower of Cage? Where? In our backyard. We got plenty of room.
Oh my gosh, this sounds like such chaos.
We can do it at SummerSlam weekend. Most people are going to be in town anyway.
SummerSlam was always my birthday, so it could also be Colin's birthday. So
can we not do this?
Can we pull this off by August?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Come on.
I feel like we can do this. All right, everybody's invited to the vow renewal, even though it's like 3 months before our actual vow. It's 2 months. I know when we got I know when our wedding day is. I don't know when my math is good. My math is the bad part here, not me misremembering the wedding day.
This is crazy.
So this is everybody's
Do you
invited
know on
to
the
SummerSlam
calculator
weekend.
app?
What's
Do
that?
you know that on the calculator application on your computer that there was a date calculation?
Really? Oh, see, I need this.
I would share my
like,
screen, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just saying, you know how many days something is, so you could put a start date or end date and see how many days is until then or going forward.
Oh, I need this for like wrestling title reigns and stuff. When people are like, "Oh, how long was their reign?" I definitely need that thing.
Also, when people say so and so is 89 days from breaking this record, I have no idea how. Like my brain does not compute any of that. I couldn't tell you who's the longest reigning champion of anything, and I cannot tell you how long anybody's reign has been. Everybody's just there.
Yeah.
All right, I've derailed this show long enough. I apologize for coming.
Listen,
in here
it's wrestling made me cry. So did you cry?
I cried a little bit. Did I cry this week from wrestling?
Yeah.
I cried for Christian. I don't know if that man's dick don't work anymore. That's very sad.
You're so right. You're so right. He's never gonna have another child. He's done.
Yeah. So I did cry for Christian, but I don't know if I cried for anything else.
I respect it. I respect. I cried for Christian too. And Kate is right.
As a fellow male, I feel bad when someone gets kicked in the dick that much.
It made me hurt.
To the dick. It was a lot.
That sucks. That sucks.
It was excessive.
Listen.
Bye, y'all. Bye, everybody.
He's the father of
Kylie.
fathers.
Bye, Colin.
Bye. Oh, what a gem. What a gem.
Jeremy is a gem. Jeremy is also a big Taylor Swift fan, which I really love. On the way back from karaoke after Revolution, Jeremy and I were in the car listening to Taylor Swift. So it's vibes. It's vibes. But I have no idea where we were before that. Truly. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what we were talking about.
I don't know. This show has been so great. This is my favorite episode.
What were we saying? That was,
raise your hand if this is your favorite episode.
You know what, Kate? Mm-hmm. We need to, first of all, we need to get special guest Kate at some point. And also, Kate, you said that was like half an hour. There was one time Kate came on Tag Talk surprised and was here for an hour. We went 2 hours because the last hour was Kate. So, you know what? And we talked about like suitcases and deodorant for an hour. So Kate doesn't
suitcases and deodorant?
Yeah, we had like a nice talk about, well, okay. Now we're going to derail the show with this discussion. I'm a notoriously light packer in the sense that I did whole wrestling trips with nothing but a fanny pack. No suitcase or backpack or anything. And everything I needed fit in this fanny pack, which is actually right here on the ground. This fanny pack, to be exact. And I had like my face wash, my deodorant, everything in here. And then I would wear for like pajamas, I would wear clothes that I was already going to donate. So I would wear them and just leave them. Because I hate carrying things through the airport, first of all, because I lose them. Like I forget they're there and I lose them. And then you get in trouble because Homeland Security is like, this is a problem. And then also like, sometimes I just don't want to be responsible for picking up my suitcase at baggage claim. So I am like, I have perfected being a super light packer.
Sorry. Okay.
And basically, okay. Kate lectured me about it. But this
why would you donate clothes that you've worn though? Did you you wash them?
Oh no, I just leave them there. They were in like the get rid of pile. But like I donate a lot of clothes though, because I go through a lot of clothes, to be honest. I go like besides my wrestling, which by the way, my wrestling shirts, I'm thinking about having them sewn into a quilt. Because I have so many wrestling shirts that I don't wear anymore.
Well, if you need, I can send a website of people who will do it, and they do it in 6 weeks, and I don't have to touch my sewing machine because
I love that.
I don't have time for
I'm gonna do that because I have like a lot of I have like old WWE shirts. I have like some like old Bullet Club shirts and like old New Japan shirts that I don't wear. So I could make some room in my closet and have a nice little quilt. I think Kate approves. Kate says you should. They look so cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know what we were talking about before Jeremy drove us.
Honestly, I don't remember. I was going to tell you that I have a dresser just for my wrestling shirts. I have over 100 wrestling shirts.
Really?
Because I've been collecting since the 2000s.
Okay, which wrestling shirt do you think is your favorite of the ones that you own?
Okay, but here's the thing. There are shirts that I wear on special occasion or wrestling shirts that I wear weekly or monthly or whatever. Because I can't obviously wear them because I did like a wrestling t-shirt challenge for myself last WrestleMania, where for 30 days I wore a wrestling shirt and I based the outfit around it, accessorized everything, which was really cool when I was just working from home because then I actually had to get up out of my pajamas. So the shirt that, I mean, I technically still fit into it because it's from TNA Samoa Joe, and it just says, it has Samoa Joe on it, is going to kill you. So it has Samoa Joe is going to kill you.
I love that.
It's just it has like the TNA sticker on the back or whatever. So it's one of my favorite things. I wear that once a year, maybe.
It's special, yeah.
But I recently purchased, as in the last year, I purchased, it was like a old vintage style WWE Edge shirt that was on like the soft t-shirt, the buttery soft shirts.
Yeah.
And it's already kind of like distressed kind of looking. So it's not black, but it's like stone color.
Ooh.
And it has edge on a ladder. I'll show you a picture. It is the softest shirt. It is, I got it in a larger size, the extra large, so that it's like I can go to bed in it. You know, I wear it and I'll put like my little like mesh shirts underneath it when I want to like look cool. Which I'm not very cool. I don't know. Sometimes I wear it, but like that's one of my favorite. I do have an original Bullet Club shirt that it's crackled, right?
Yeah, mine is
it's
so
like, crackled, and
it's so bad, and I always want to wear it because I love it, but I'm just like preserving it now at this point. It's like a historic artifact. It's the same thing. I have a New Day Booty-O shirt that's kind of in the same place now because I used to really love that shirt and I wore it a lot, but now like the print is fading and it's like the strings on like the seams of the sleeves are starting to come out. So I'm like, it's in preservation mode at this point.
Yeah.
And then I have another one I don't wear. I wore it once. CM Punk's first AEW shirt. I wore it once for me and Kyle Sparks did a CM Punk career retrospect on Body Slam. I think it's on. You can probably still go find it on Body Slam's YouTube. I wore it for that, and I haven't worn it since. And then also one that is kind of an old ancient relic is Hangman Page's first Bullet Club shirt. I have that one still, which is a relic. But so many of my shirts are like fading. And then once it starts fading or getting crackled or, you know, threads start coming loose, I don't want to wear it anymore because I have like an emotional attachment with my wrestling shirts. So they're just there. But if I sew them into a quilt, then I think I don't have to worry about it as much.
Right. I will have to say sometimes sewing shirts into a quilt, because sometimes you'll have a graphic that's like this big, sometimes it's this, you know, so the only thing is like for me visually making sure that like certain things are a little whatever. But yeah, my collection is, and I have like other graphic tees because I'm a graphic tee auntie over here. I could pair anything with a graphic tee, and so I have like two drawers of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drawer dresser over here that I think only 2 of them are like video games, you know, Sailor Moon. I have a bunch of Sailor Moon things, but everything else is just packed with wrestling. I did donate problematic wrestlers t-shirts that I was like, awesome, I can go buy more.
I have room
because I have room, but I've since filled up that spot. So and I just bought the Mel Coleman Sting shirt, one of the Mel Coleman Sting shirts, and a new Abaddon shirt, which is like the second Abaddon shirt that I have. And then I also purchased a Mercedes Moné shirt. That
I love that.
3 more shirts.
I've been looking at the Mercedes ones. The most recent ones I got for Christmas. I got Julia Hart another Kenny Omega shirt to add to my Kenny Omega collection, which are also shirts that I don't wear that often because I have such like I just love Kenny Omega so much that if the shirt started to fade, I just know that I'd be more upset than if any other wrestling shirt started to fade.
My cleaner shirt is like that, where it's crackling and it's like,
yeah,
it's
sad. A lot of my old school elite shirts I've cut into tank tops for the gym. Because those ones, it's the elite, like they can, they'll age with time. It's fine. It's whatever. But also sometimes, like if I get a wrestling shirt and the fabric is like that really scratchy, like towely fabric, like stiff, those are the ones that I'm more likely to like modify in some way. But my Julia one is super soft. My Kenny Omega one, I have also Kenny Omega's first AW shirt. I've worn like 3 times because I'm like, it's gray. First of all, it's not even black, so I'm paranoid about stains. And also, I'm just like, every time I wear it, I'm just like so like conscious of the fact that I'm wearing it and I don't want to ruin it. So yeah, that's why most of my wrestling shirts are black. I will say that.
I mean, a lot of wrestling shirts just automatically come into black. So
yeah, Jackie says, do you ever have shirts that you're like, I might get odd looks from non-wrestling fans for this one? Yes, my Bullet Club shirt, I wore it to an AW pay-per-view a couple of years ago. I don't remember when. And I was in the lobby of the hotel, and this guy comes up and stops me, and he thought it was like a shirt from like my Marine Corps regiment. Like he was asking me like as though I was in the Marine Corps, and I was like, no, it's a wrestling thing. So I don't know if Marines do that where they have like reunions where they have little shirts or whatever, but he thought that that's what it was. And yeah, so I think Bullet Club is the one that you're most likely to get odd looks for. Also some of like the AW shirts that are a little bit like Redeem These Nuts and like stuff like that, the goofy ones, I think those ones too.
Yeah, I have a Steph DeLander shirt that says "Big Titted Idiot" that I wore to the gym like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just sitting there working out, minding my own business, and some guy is just like, "Work out, leave me alone, go away,
stop reading my shirt." Yeah, I totally get what you mean. So, but it's like when you do wear those shirts and someone knows what it is, like that's fun. Like I like that a lot.
It's so funny because the last time that I saw someone in the wild with a wrestling shirt on, it was at the grocery store, and someone was wearing an Undisputed Era hoodie. You know, the hoodie where like there's a little thing here and then there was the stuff on the back, right? And I saw the stuff on the back, but when he passed me, obviously only, and I just flipped the Undisputed Era, like, nice shirt, and then, did the, I don't know how to do it with my fingers. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. Something like
that.
Yeah,
whatever. And that was like 3 years ago. And I did that, and he was like, oh my God, a wrestling fan in the wild? I'm like, yeah, it happens. Please.
I love that. I don't know if I've ever had interactions like with wrestling fans, but like I live in Florida, and like where I live, a lot of wrestlers live here. So there's been times where I've been like downtown and like a car parks and then a wrestler comes out and I'm just like observing from afar because I don't ever bother them like in real life because I don't know, I feel weird about it.
Right.
They're just like running errands and whatever. But yeah, I do live in that weird spot in Florida where Tampa and Orlando are right there. So it's like a lot of wrestlers, which is fun, but also low-key terrifying. But I have no idea where this show is going. So if
I don't know.
Do you want to wrap up and give final thoughts and close it out?
Yeah. So yeah, we've talked about a whole bunch of things. I feel like we left something off, but I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, I was looking at my notes on my phone. We've just talked about so many cool things in wrestling, and there's more cool things happening in wrestling every freaking week. The only thing that I do have to say is I wish that we got more rankings. I like the rankings. I like the discourse on the rankings, but I guess that's not a thing that's coming back. They said it was coming back, but I do appreciate that AEW has been posting the show graphic well before Wednesday. So I'm kind of like, okay, this is kind of what's going to happen, because it makes me excited to talk to other people about wrestling. Yeah. I know it's so strange. Why would I talk to people about wrestling? But I mean, it's springtime. We're heading into WrestleMania season. We're heading into the summer season. Where I just feel like so much happens. Forbidden Door. I'm so excited about all the things that are unfolding and potential great things that are going to happen. And I don't know. I'm just freaking excited. I'm a little bit sad that because I chose to get married during WrestleMania weekend that I'm gonna miss a lot of things live. But I'm just so stoked to be in this time of wrestling.
Honestly, same. And that's kind of like my final thoughts is that I love that because when we came up with this idea for the show, it was a few months ago. And I love that every week we're not scrambling for things to talk about. That I love that we have too many things to talk about, the things that we're excited about. I really love that because it makes the show feel that much more fun. And also this show has made like wrestling feel really fun to me. So shout out to everybody who's watching and talking with us in the chat, because you guys really do make the community what it is. But yeah, it's just such a special time in wrestling. Joel Pearl says, Collins, I had my kid the week during Mania season. I'm feeling your pain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Mania like month is always chaotic, but when you add in like real life stuff like that into it, and now like your anniversary is going to be around WrestleMania season.
See, this is the thing that happens. Anniversary around WrestleMania season. My birthday is usually always around SummerSlam. I remember key birthday parties that were just SummerSlam centric parties.
I love that.
So, except for last year when they put SummerSlam in July, and I was like, okay, thanks.
They ruined the whole thing. They ruined the vibe.
Exactly. They ruined the vibe.
They need to fix that because the vibe feeling needs to be restored. And Collins is the feeling. So it needs to be restored.
I'm the biggest party of the summer. Come on.
For real. WWE, if you're listening, fix this. Solve this problem. But yeah, I just love that we have so many cool things to talk about. And it's like, when especially an AEW show is coming up, I just get so excited to watch it because I know that there's going to be great matches. I love that we're back in that space where I'm not like, oh, Dynamite looks mid. Like maybe I can miss it. I love that I'm like, this is can't miss TV. Yeah. And so I'm really excited, especially because it feels like every promotion, I shouldn't say that because New Japan, some stuff is happening. But I feel like AEW is doing good, WWE is doing good, TNA is doing good. It's like there's so much to do. But yeah, Collins, do you have anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
I mean, if you want to hear me talk more about Ring of Honor, you can find me on the OLE podcast. We go live on Thursdays. It is like 7 my time, but apparently it's like 10 p.m. like other people's time, whatever. Pacific time is the best time. So come party with us at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. If you want to hear me and Kyle K. Sparks talk about Ring of Honor, he is so smart. If you want an encyclopedia about Ring of Honor or things that are not mainstream and you just want to hear about the history of, he just went on a history of like Eddie Kingston and Chikara, like
so smart.
Didn't know any of these things, and he's paralleling things here and there. I'm always amazed every week. So come find me there. I do predictions every Wednesday for Dynamite. That means I need to score predictions this week. I usually wait till the last minute to score predictions. I usually post them on my little Discord. It's just kind of fun. And then on main pay-per-views, the big ones, we do things for money. This is money out of my own pocket. So it is just my thank you to all of you for wanting to join me on Auntie Collins predictions. But we do free predictions week after week. And it's kind of fun because, I don't know, I kind of like predicting shows week after week. And it's just a lot of fun. So find me there. Find me on
Twitter.
Find me on Instagram. All the things.
I love that it's X now, but it's just still Twitter.
I'm never gonna call it. I will never dead name a person, but I will dead name Twitter all day long. I don't acknowledge X.
Don't shout out Elon. Elon, go away. X is such a dumb name for an app. Like, let's just be honest. So dumb. You can follow me on Twitter at Kiley Wrestling. Listen, my Twitter is, I don't know what my Twitter is. She is chaos. That is what she is. But it's a fun time. So follow me on Twitter. This is Wrestling Made Me Cry. We're live every Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. And we talk about things, wholesome, fun, good time things about wrestling. Not every episode will be this long, but this is the Jeremy Lambert tax that you pay. He comes on and you give him his time. Just kidding. I love Jeremy.
We love Jeremy.
Yeah, if there's no Jeremy, there's no Fightful Overbooked. So everybody give Jeremy his due. Oh, this is Fightful Overbooked. You can, subscribe to Fightful Overbooked, maybe, if you want to. Maybe you should. I think you should. But if it's up to you. And there's a lot of really great shows on here. There's Coexisting. There's FMC. There's so many great things. And you're bound to find, something that you like. Even if it's not Wrestling Made Me Cry, which I wish it was. But maybe it's not your thing. That's okay. There's something for you. So go subscribe to Fightful Overbooked. Like this video. If you're watching after we are live, hi, welcome to Wrestling Made Me Cry. Comment below. We'll still read your comments. We'll have a good time anyway. We'll continue the party in the chat, in the comments. And that's the vibes. Listen, this has been a week. I had a morning and you guys made me feel a lot better about life. So thank you so much. All that being said, unless Colin has something else to say, we'll see you guys next Sunday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, whatever that is in your time zone. Figure it out on your own time.
Bye. Happy wrestling.